Welcome back, everybody. You're at Home and Hearth, and I am Jamie. So today is my seed haul video, and I know it's the middle of January. It's kind of towards the end of January, really. But honestly, I need to get started early where I'm at. I have some physical infirmities that cause me to have to go about things maybe at a little slower pace. So I need to start planning a little bit earlier, and I do have quite a bit of work to do on the garden as far as prep. So the seeds this year are going to be quite expansive. And to start things off, the majority of my seeds at this point, this will be my third year gardening. I get the majority of my seeds from MI Gardener. Luke and his team do an absolutely fantastic job. I am a diehard fan of theirs, and I pretty much only get my stuff from them. With the exception of this year, I have procured a very highly rated 36 pack of medicinal seeds for my medicinal/culinary garden, and we'll be going over those as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and let's go ahead and start with the flowers. I started growing flowers last year, and I love the balance of, I'm very big into the balance of nature. And I found that, not only are they beautiful to look at, but obviously they are a great source for pollinators, all pollinators. So I'm adamant about planting flowers. I have quite a few in the hopper for this year. I've had some successes in the past and some massive failures, mostly due to me. Last year was a huge issue with algae growing on my seed starts. And again, Luke at MI Gardener helped me with that by watching one of his videos. He taught how to, eliminate that for the most part. I did use it. It did help, but some of the seed starts that I had were they didn't make it. So we're going to try it again this year, but quite a bit more informed. So I'm going to try again this year snapdragons, and I have several varieties here. This is a rose snapdragon, and I got two of those because I really want to make sure that I've got enough of these, because if the pictures were really lovely, and I would like to not only use those in the garden but also around the home too. So maybe in some pots, maybe in some flower beds up front. So we've got that, and I'm going to raise you just a touch here. I can do that gently. Okay. Now I've got some more snapdragons. This is a white snowflake, which I thought would just be very, very striking with the other colors. And I got a apple blossom, which is a very pretty peachy, not pink, more of a peachy, creamy, yellowish kind of flower. It's really pretty. I can't wait to see if it works. And nasturtiums this year. Nasturtiums have been really popular with a lot of the growers. I really want to try it. It's a lovely flower, and I think it's going to go really well. I hope it does. And I went ahead and got two of those. I like to err on the side of caution, to have too much of something than too little. That's hit me in the past as well. I've got some zinnias, which I have grown in the past. And last year I grew I think I grew 4 different kinds, 2 mixes, and then one a really beautiful, deep maroon color, and then one that was a giant white. And it was really pretty. I loved it. So I'm going to grow that one. Calendula. I'm trying my hand at calendula again in both just for show and also for medicinal. I've got some over there in the medicinal pile. And I tried several times growing the calendula, and I just, again, user error, I just wasn't doing it correctly. My echinacea is going on year 3, and she's going strong. I did get extra echinacea this year to grow, but the calendula just gave me fits. It just did not... It was not my time. Let's put it that way. And asters, a huge thing for asters. I got 2 of these each because I tried like the dickens last year. I had 2. I had 1 of each. I had this variety and the silver, and then this one, which I think is just the violet aster. I tried these so many times. And I would get like itty bitty tiny baby sprouts, and then they would just sit there and never do anything. But again, that was more me than anything. So I've got both of those in silver and violet. We're going to give that the old college try. And straw flowers. I really tried to do straw flowers last year, and it just, again, like the asters, and I'm fighting all of that algae. It was just a losing battle. But I've got much better ventilation this year and much better cross flow with air. And I think I'm going to have a much better lighting situation happening. I think it's going to be more successful this year. At least that's the way I'm going to run with that. So I've got it's a copper red right there. I've got a really pretty apricot, which it's just so pretty. I really love that. It's kind of a light orangey, sherbety kind of color. And then I have these babies right here. They're a purple red, which I think are going to be super striking. I love that. And silvery rose. I've got 2 of these because it's that soft baby pink that's just really, really pretty. And I think they'll be beautiful dried out. I'm big on crafting, and I love the idea of using a lot more dried flowers and things. So that's really excited about those. Then into carnations, which actually grow here really, really well. The previous owners of this home, well over a decade ago, had planted carnations, and they're real pretty, kind of like well, not a magenta, but a little bit, well, maybe they were more magenta, because they were like a kind of a bright, but kind of like a hot pinkish red. So yeah, magenta. They were gorgeous. And they just kind of left them, and I didn't even know we had carnations till they started blooming, and I was like, oh my gosh. And they actually continued to rebloom by themselves without any intervention for 3 straight years. So I thought, well, obviously I know they grow here, so we're going to try a couple of these guys. It's the Grenadine King of Blacks. I thought this was so striking. I thought, oh my gosh, what a perfect, just like, that's a conversation starter color right there. So I've got a couple of those. And then I've got, okay, it's orange sherbet. I'm not even going to attempt to say the first French name. Respect the name. I'm just not going to say it. But it is a gorgeous sherbet color. I love that. And then the La France, which is like a real soft, almost white pink, which is really, really pretty. So I'm excited about those. And those are most of the flowers, with the exception of the medicinal herbs that have some pretty rock star flowers, in my opinion. But let's do some vegetables and things here. The only other flowers I take that back. I do have a really gorgeous poppy mix, which I'm excited about trying. I think that's going to be really good. Just pops of color all over. I think this could be really pretty. And then I did go ahead and bite the bullet and finally get my wildflower mix, because I really want to just have those pops of color. And I know this is designed for pollinators in mind, which I'm a huge proponent of pollinators. So I thought this would be great to just kind of like put wherever, just for the heck of it. And anything I can offer pollinators to make their lives a little happier, awesome. And we have a couple of bare areas in our property, and I thought it would be really good. We're going to try some ground cover. I also have, aside from this guy right here, I've got red clover, and I've got a wheat variety that I can't recall the name of right now, but it's specifically for ground cover. So we're going to be using that. So we've got those. And I'm going, and starting with veggies, and my gardeners are always really, really great to throw in a free packet. They are fantastic. And these are all 3, the salad bowl mix, as it's called, which I love, because generally we always have salad with our dinner, unless it's like, we're having pizza. We always generally have salad. And I grew romaine last year, and it was really wonderful having it for dinner time. Just, pop out the back door into the deck, cut some lettuce off, and boom, wash it up, and we've got a salad for dinner. So it was really, really fun. So I'm excited to use this for sure. I'm excited to use all of these for sure. So starting with the veggies, I've got 2 different varieties of cucumbers, pickling cucumbers, and they're very different. This is more like what you find in the grocery store, and this is like gnarly, serious, pickling cucumber. It means business. So I'm very excited about both. And unlike the experimental garden that I tried at one time, where everything I didn't know how prolific these were going to be. I knew nothing at all about gardening. It was a wonder that anything grew at all, but it did. And it grew prolifically, and it was all cucumbers. And unfortunately, because of my physical issues, I wasn't able to stay on top of them. And as a result, I would walk out. It would be like 2 or 3 days, and I'd manage to finally get outside and find these cucumbers no exaggeration, about that big around and about that long. I mean, they were like torpedo cucumbers. They were terrifying. So I kind of learned my lesson. It was like, I took a break from them for a couple of years, and then 2 years ago I started gardening, and finally, year number 3 now, I'm getting brave enough. We're gonna try cucumbers again. So let's see how I fare. let's hope for no more torpedoes. I have again, this is going more. This is both medicinal and culinary, but I've got basil. Love basil. I actually had volunteer basil after I pulled the plant out. I was several months back, and it grew back anyway. So we're going to do that. So let's see here. Let me take a quick break. Okay, I am back here. Alrighty. So moving on from the basil, I have dill. I have never actually grown dill. I'm looking forward to it. You know me and pickling. I'm big on pickling. Here, let me move you guys up just a hair here. Okay. Hopefully. I don't know what's happening with my camera. It's moving all by itself there. Okay, that looks a little bit better. But anyways, moving on. Dill. I'm going to try this actually in a pot. I haven't checked it. I don't think it's invasive, but I may just put it in a pot anyway, because I'm going to have to reformat the garden this year, both in direction and adding in some extra rows. So we're going to be doing some different things I'm going to be sharing with you all. And dill is going to be one of them. As I said, you know me, I love my pickling, and this is just kind of a win-win. I've learned how to make some really great dressings and dips with dill. I love to, of course, use it in pickling and that kind of thing. It's just one of my favorite flavors. I love it on salmon. It's one of my favorites. And I also do my own curing of salmon. It's not like a smoked or, you know, I think cold curing or God, words escape me at this moment. I'm terribly sorry. But yes, I do love using dill on salmon, and it's very versatile. So we're going to be using that. And even though I grew thyme last year, it was very successful. I didn't grow enough of it, and I really want to do quite a bit more of it because I use it a lot in culinary uses. And of course, it's also got medicinal property too. And like basil, I'd like to grow enough for a year because I use those so much. It's ridiculous how much I use them. And the other two that I've begun to use a great deal of is rosemary. And I love rosemary. I love to cook with it. I love to dry it and powder it. It's great for a lot of things. It's got a very piney, resiny flavor and smell. So it can actually be used in a lot of things. And there are some medicinal properties to it as well. So those are the herbs for the MI Gardener group. And for the rest of my MI Gardener goodies, let's see what we have here. Okay, so I saw these on their website, and I had actually seen these in a video. I forget where I actually saw it, but it's glass corn. And I actually don't even think, I'm not sure, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on this, I very well could be. I don't believe that it's actually you eat it. I think it's more decorative. So I'm going to go with that. But I was just so taken with the colors. Look at these colors. I mean, all the reds and purples and blues. I'm just like, no, I have to grow it. I have to try. So that's on the list. It is happening. The other things that I'm doing differently this year is the last 2 years that I've gardened, I have done bush beans very successfully. But space is at a premium. I think every gardener can relate to that. And so this year we're going vertical with pole beans. I can get more. And green beans is a huge thing in our family. Corn, green beans, carrots, those are all hugely popular items on our dining room table at dinner time. So I definitely want to grow as many of these guys as I can. I had quite a few green bean bush plants the last 2 years, the 2 years that I've gardened. And the first year, they did so-so. The last year, they actually did pretty darn well. I was very happy with them. But I noticed that even though I had 8 plants, they never got very large. And although they produced, they didn't produce as well as they could have. And I thought, you know what, let's try the pole beans this year. They're bigger beans. again, you're going vertical, so a lot more real estate that way. And I've already actually purchased my my structures. I hate to say bean poles, but yeah, I bought bean poles. So there you go. So we're going to be doing green beans, and going to be doing the cucumbers, and I'm looking forward to this. I feel like I already covered these guys. Maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe I did. Anyway, we're doing pickling cucumbers. I can't talk because, yeah, I love to pickle. So there you go. Excuse me. So moving on from there into the crookneck squash is another one I'm going to grow. I grew this the first year and it went nuts and I loved it. It was so successful. We had squash for months and months and months. I processed a bunch of it, put it in the freezer, and used it for soups and even roasting in the oven. And it was just really, really great. So I'm going to be doing that again. And I also have my pumpkins. I tried pumpkins last year. I did get a few of them. You saw them when I did the pantry video. And so we did have some Jack B. Littles and that kind of thing. This year, we're going to do some baby boos for Halloween. These are also really good to eat, too. I actually like to roast these. And they're good because they're small. And for myself, you know, I can roast one up and have a couple of dinners with one. So they're adorable. They're perfect for Halloween and autumn. I'm going to be doing the Cinderella pumpkins, and yeah, I'm going to be doing the Cinderella pumpkin, which I'm really, really excited about. They're beautiful pumpkins, and so I'm hoping that's successful. My pumpkins last year, I did the sweetmeat, and I got a couple that actually were usable, and I actually roasted them up. They were very, very good, but I just got those two, and I had enormous plants. Again, real estate. It's all about real estate when it comes to finding plants like this, like if you're doing watermelon or any kind of squashes and stuff. So I'm going to come up with a little bit different approach in how we're going to lay that out in the garden so that I can still grow them and not sacrifice much needed garden rows for it. And then also the Long Island cheese, I believe. Yeah, Long Island cheese. I'm reading upside down, so you'll have to kind of bear with me. But this is a very popular pumpkin. I have not tried it yet, so I'm super excited for this to work. Hopefully it happens. We're going to do our level best to make it happen. So that's all those right there. And I have tried onions in the past, like your regular, white onion, that kind of thing. I've just not had much success. However, there have been issues where it wasn't the plant's fault or the seed's fault. It was my fault. Because again, as I have mentioned, I do have physical issues that can really prohibit me from some physical activity at times. And I have to really push sometimes. And when I was trying to grow the onions, I just never got to them, and they just sort of petered out in the little seed pots. So my fault, not the seed's fault. So this year I thought I would start smaller. Let's shoot for shallots. I love shallots. I love cooking with shallots. They're absolutely fantastic. They have a great onion flavor without punching you in the face. And there's so many things you can do with them. They're really lovely. So we're going to try just nice shallots this year and see how well we do with that. And then I'm going to be doing peppers. I'm going to be doing hot peppers. Again, last year I did hot peppers. I did ancho, I did poblano, I did cayenne, I did jalapeno. They all did really well. My jalapenos were itty bitty tiny babies. They only got, I think the biggest one was like 2.5 inches. They were babies. But the other peppers, the cayenne, strangely enough, were absolutely fantastic. They went nuts. I had a huge bag of those by the time it was said and done. But this year I'm going to focus on a couple of just bell pepper varieties, real straight up simple. They're really good for dicing, vacuum sealing, and throwing them in the freezer. And that way you've already got part of your food prep done. It's kind of the same premise as doing your onions ahead of time, freezing them. Yeah, I'm all for that. Anything that saves time, because I found, and I'm sure this is for some of you as well, when the food is prepped and waiting for you, you're more apt to use it, of course. If you have to stop and mince the garlic and dice the onions and dice the peppers, you're not as likely to be like, nah, I think I'll just order a burger. if it's already there, you're more apt to use it. So that's kind of my mindset there. And I love just a sweet pepper like this. You know, it's very versatile. And I love stuffed peppers. Stuffed peppers is such a classic meal, and it's so easy to do, and it freezes. So, yeah. So we're going to be doing that. And this is a little bit new to me. I do have I've grown tomatoes quite a bit in the past, but I'm really, I mean, I love tomatoes. I love eating tomatoes in sandwiches or whatnot, or in a salad, but I'm more of, I'm the canning person. I really want to can things as much as possible. I don't have a freeze dryer. I have a dehydrator, but I don't, you know, and I can freeze things, but the only other preserving method, of course, for me is canning. And as I said, I don't eat a ton of fresh tomatoes, but I love making sauces. So I'm going to be doing a lot of San Marzano tomatoes. I doubt I'm going to be growing any other kinds of tomatoes because they just, I mean, I would produce far more tomatoes than I need that could be eaten fresh. And these are ideal paste tomatoes for sauce. Clearly, they're San Marzano. So we're going to go with San Marzano, and we're going to try and grow as much of these babies as possible. So we've got those. And then the last one from M.I. Gardner is pepperoncinis. And I'm very excited about this. I love the hot. I love the spicy. I love the pickled. So I'm really excited about this because this is going to be where I get the opportunity to can my own pepperoncini. Like Jardinera. I'm pretty excited. So be looking forward to that. And oh no, actually the last thing from M.I. Gardner is we're going to try strawberries again. Strawberries. We love strawberries in this house. And last year, again, because of I was experiencing a lot of algae on my seed starts. More, again, user error, definitely not the seed's fault. I'm still always learning. We always are as gardeners go. We're always learning. And this year, we're going to try it again. Definitely going to try it again. So that was the M.I. Gardner haul. And real quickly, we're going to go through the medicinal culinary, mostly medicinal. I have a raised bed garden that's 10 by 10 and it's in a horseshoe shape. You'll get familiar. We're going to be doing some videos out there. I'm going to bring you along and you can see what I do there. But my medicinal garden is strictly for the things that I do for myself, for my family, friends. I create my own salves. I create my own rash creams, skincare, teas, infusions, tinctures, and I use it all from organically grown herbs that I do myself. End of story. The only thing that I don't produce is the containers they come in and the bases, such as beeswax or coconut oil or vitamin E oil or that kind of thing. The actual herbs that go into it, I grow myself, and it is all organic. So, having said that, this is what I've gotten. Now, this is from a company called survivalgardenseeds.com. They're a really great company. They're highly rated. This is the big bag that came in with all the seeds in it. And I believe it's a 36 pack. Yeah, 36 seed packets. And I'm going to be revamping my medicinal garden this year so that I can really boost the nutrients. It's been 2 years since it's really been gone through and really tended to. And it's still, I mean, even last garden season, I really got beautiful stuff coming out of it. We had started out with really good quality soil, and it really showed. It really showed. But it does, I think, need some amendments this year and a little TLC. And so this is what we're going to be growing. Now, this isn't all going in a 10 by 10 area, but a lot of it is. And I'm also expanding out the medicinal garden to extra rows and pots and that kind of thing. So starting off, we've got common plantain. Never grown it. Have no idea if it's going to do well or not, but we're going to give it a try. And of course, peppermint. We all, I think, have learned that hard lesson of don't put peppermint in the ground. I did that 4 years ago because we thought it would be a good companion plant to a flower that we were trying to grow. The flower died. The mint did not. It still hasn't. It's been 9 years. Almost. It'll be 9 years this year. Yeah, it's still going strong. We still find runners that we have to pull out. So this will be going in a pot. Yes. We have mullein. I'm probably saying that wrong. Let me know. I actually do have mullein right now in my raised bed garden, and it actually was a volunteer plant, believe it or not. I never planted it. It showed up one day. It stayed. It's now the size of a hubcap. So we're going to be working around that, but I will be planting more because it's great for so many uses. Okay, we have mugwort. I'm rather familiar with mugwort. It's a great herb. It really is. I've got marshmallow, which I'm not familiar with, but I'm looking forward to trying. And we've got marigold, and I am very familiar with marigold. I've actually grown it the first 2 years, and then I had a pot that I got from a greenhouse, and then I tried planting it out in the garden that first year, and it did okay. And then I didn't try it again this last garden season, but it reseeded itself and came back. So I'm going to plant quite a few more of these. I've got lovage, which I am not familiar with, but I'm anxious to get familiar with. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got lemon balm, which I am familiar with. It is very good. I drink lemon balm tea almost every night. It's fantastic. Helps with the nerves, digestion, all kinds of fun things. And we've got lavender. This will have to be planted in a pot. Or actually, though, the raised bed garden has quite a bit of drainage. It might actually do very well in the raised bed garden. I'll have to look at that. So that's that first pile. And I actually got 4 packs of quite a few of these. So I've got yarrow, and this is yarrow right here. And interesting story, I had planted yarrow in the raised bed medicinal garden, and it did very, very well. And somehow, out of one of my pots out on the back deck where I told you I have out there, I was growing my peppers out there. So the peppers that I just told you about were out there in pots, in good sized pots at that. And yarrow somehow made it across half an acre into that one pot and seeded itself, proceeded to grow, kill out the jalapeno plant that was in there, and take over. And I have cut it back probably 7-8 times. And it's now January 22nd, and it's still going strong. So I figure yarrow is such a great plant to have around. I'm just going to plant it in some more pots because it apparently, there's no stopping it. It's fantastic. I love it. We have wormwood, which I have never grown, but I'm anxious to try it yet. There is valerian, which I love, helps with sleep and so many other wonderful things. Toothache plant. Never tried this, but it is a very common old plant that was used for toothaches specifically. So we're going to try that too. We've got stinging nettle. I know I'm familiar of stinging nettle. I've never grown it, so I'm looking forward to this. I think it should be pretty interesting. Again, it's one of those that has a multitude of uses. A lot of these do, and I think that's the point of having a collection of seeds like this, is that pretty much anything in here will cure what ails you for the most part. And this one is borage, which I also have not grown, but again, very interested to find out if I can. And look at that flower. Isn't that flower absolutely like rock star? It looks like someone's painted it. It's just beautiful. I've got normal sage, regular sage, and then I've also got white sage. I'm anxious to try both of these. I've never grown sage. I've never used a lot of sage. And then this last year, I kind of dabbled with it a little bit, cooking wise. And I was like, I like this. And then I started seeing the medicinal benefits. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's make this happen. And then the last one in that pile is purslane. I've never grown purslane successfully. I tried it, and it started to take off, and I had somehow accidentally planted a radish next to it, and the radish took off and took it over. So we're going to try purslane again. So that is that. And the last 2 piles are pretty interesting ones. Again, culinary and medicinal is anise. I've never grown it. Going to be fun trying it. We've got lemon mint, so another mint variety that is going in a pot. And I've got holy basil. Excuse me. We've got holy basil, a very, very potent medicinal herb. It's really, really good for you. We've got bergamot. Again, if I'm mispronouncing it, let me know. But look at that flower. Look at these flowers. I mean, so yeah, that's really, really beautiful. And look at this one on the black cumin. That's like perfect. And I love cumin, so and I'm also into Ayurvedic medicine and health, nutrition, that kind of thing. So I'm very excited to see if I can actually do something with black cumin. Oregano, also have learned the hard way that it is an invasive plant after it already became invasive in my garden. So, again, I guess we, as gardeners, we have to do your research. Because, yeah, I found out the hard way that oregano is not only invasive, it has attitude. It most assuredly does. Yes, it does. So this will also be going in a pot, but I love oregano. I love the idea of having a year's worth because I do use quite a bit of it when I'm making my sauces and that kind of thing. And calendula, which I have, I've got it, the other one from My Gardener. I have tried growing calendula in the past and I've struggled. And again, user error, because my problem is when I would have episodes where I was, down and not being able to get outside or that kind of thing, these plants would sit, they would get root bound, they would struggle, and they would not have the optimum growing conditions that they needed to survive. So we're going to do better this year. We've got catnip. This should be a fantastic hit with, I have 2 cats and my neighbor has, I believe, 8 who are all outdoor cats. So this should be fun to grow. I may be crying before this is over. I may want to put this in, actually, I'm going to put this in a pot where it can be monitored. I don't want to put this out in my garden, probably because it will spread everywhere, I'm sure. But I have a pretty good idea that at some point I will look out my living room window out down to the garden and see 52 cats, rolling around in my garden. I probably don't want that. So we're going to keep this guy in a pot. And then another packet of the cayenne pepper. Again, I had grown them last year very successfully. Thoroughly enjoyed it. The peppers were beautiful. We're going to go for it again. And the very last pile of our seed journey is lamb's ear. I have never grown it. It's a really beautiful plant. Very beautiful. Let's see if I can get a little closer look so you can see. Aren't those neat? Oh my God, they're just so neat. I love it. I love it. So we're going to try growing that. We have hyssop, which I did try to grow 4 times last year. And I was struggling really, really hard with that algae on my seed starts, and I just couldn't get these babies any bigger than about an inch, and that was it. So again, user error. We have better plans for this year. We've got horehound, which is really good for coughs, sore throats, that kind of thing. It is absolutely fantastic. I love this stuff. Their stalk, again, look at the flowers. If I get nothing else but those flowers, I'll count myself lucky right there. They're beautiful. I really don't know some of the medicinal properties of a couple of these, so we're going to have to learn this together. I think it'll be a lot of fun, but those flowers are pretty. We've got feverfew. Again, they look a lot like chamomile flowers, so they're just darling. But again, feverfew is fantastic for so many things. Even, God, there's like a laundry list of things that these, and I think that's the point, again, of all of these seeds. They represent medicinal herbs that can cure many different things. They can, help you with your ailments and aches and pains and discomfort. So very excited about growing that as well. And as I mentioned, I already have an echinacea plant that's 3 years established. This will be the 3rd year, but I'm definitely going to be trying to grow more because it's an incredibly beneficial plant, helping in so many ways: colds, flus, congestion, mood swings, female issues. I mean, it's like St. John's wort. There's so many good things. And we have fennel, which for me, of course, is very much a culinary herb, but it's also obviously a very good medicinal herb as well. So we're going to be growing that together. I've never grown that before. Chervil's another one I haven't grown. So there's a lot of these I'm unfamiliar with, but I'm fully accepting of all the research I'm going to need to do. So this should be fun. So we've got the chervil, and it should be interesting. I believe I've had chervil once or twice. So a lot of this is new to me. And then of course chamomile, which is just, I grew that last year and it was very prolific. It did very, very well. And I'm incredibly happy. I'd like to grow about a year's worth and dry it for teas and that kind of thing. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. And I have a salve recipe that I've created that this also is very, very good. It's very calming on the skin as well as inside your body. So that is my seed haul. Is this all of the seeds I'm going to use? I want to say yes, I want to say no, because I have, and we're going to go through this together. I'm going to bring you along as I organize seeds and get the garden growing area organized and planning out how we're going to attack this year's garden. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to bring you along with me. And I want to thank you for joining me. And if you enjoyed visiting with me, consider liking, subscribing, coming back for more. I know that probably you can watch a couple of other videos. I try to upload every Tuesday and Friday, and I really enjoyed having you with me. Everyone, please take care. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.